Okay, I'm going pretty lo-fi today, and I'll be honest, I forgot my ND filters on my cameras, and I'm just sort of rocking and rolling as this go. I have this set on aperture priority, so hopefully the exposure is not something too terrible. But I want to talk today here about the DANA Dolly, and more importantly, how to basically transform this into something that's even more practical than it already is. So we're going to look today at a very cheap, lo-fi way to transform a DANA Dolly into a doorway dolly. And if you've ever been on a set before, DANA dollies are absolutely essential pieces of equipment. They're so affordable, and they really get you really, really wonderful quality shots because of the weight and smoothness of the shuttle. Where you run into problems is if you're not going from, say, side to side or even at an angle, but let's say you want to do a classic push-in shot. So if I have a shot like this and I want to push in down this, say, row of trees right here, that's where I'm going to really run into problems with a DANA dolly. And the reason why, because the shuttle's so high, you're going to see the rail here in the shot. Now, a lot of times you can use something like a riser to try and raise your camera up, but even that is only sort of a stopgap, and you can't really get a super long push-in. Now, I have an 8-foot set of rails right here, which is honestly, you're going to see those in 8-foot rails. But let's say you have a 10 or 12-foot set of rails, there's no way you're going to be able to get a riser because the shuttle is so close in proximity that you're going to be able to not see it here in the shot. And that's where you need a doorway dolly. Now, of course, the difference between a doorway dolly and a DANA dolly is several $100s of rental expenses. And some budgets just don't have the budget or the crew to have a doorway dolly. So let's look how you can transform this little DANA dolly right here into a doorway dolly. And you're gonna need two big pieces of equipment to pull it off. Now, the first is going to be something that you should pretty much expect all the time, and that is going to be just a standard Apple box. Now, if you're gonna get this in any grip truck, most of you have these just laying around. I know I have a couple just laying around even without a grip truck. So you're gonna want this Apple box. And the other thing you're gonna wanna get is you're gonna wanna get something to put the head on. Now, this right here is a Pro-Aim, basically flat box that has a small hi-hat that I can just rest. But you can honestly get away with a lot of different things. You could actually, if you're really on a budget, take a small hi-hat like this and actually drill it into maybe a quarter Apple and get away with that as well. Lots of options. I found this is a really good one because it's super secure and it's easy. So let's talk about putting this all together on the ground to make a doorway dolly. Now, the first thing you want to do, obviously, is I'm going to take the shuttle off. And when you're looking at doing this on a doorway dolly, you're going to take these edges right here on your DANA dolly and you need to flip them upside down. What that's going to do is that's going to allow you to make sure you're keeping your rails safe, and more importantly, keep them off the ground so you're not going to get any debris on them, you're not going to hurt them. Everything's going to come out, pretty easy. So let's take a look at doing that real quick. So I'm going to take this off. Cool, and once I pop this off, now you can see it's here in my hands. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to flip it. And now that's going to give me a nice, good base for the ground. So now that I can take it, I'm going to put it here on the ground. All right, so now that I've gone ahead and put the rails here on the ground, I'm ready to put my shuttle on it. And because this is rails and it's a basic DANA dolly system, the rails are going to work whether they're upside down or right side up. It really doesn't matter. So when I put my rails on here, you're going to see a couple things real quick. So my shuttle's back on here. Put that there, right there. I'm a little bit on an incline, so this is a little bit off. So I'm going to go ahead and twist one of my wheels just for safety. Now, one word of advice about this, I would say, if you're going to do this, I'm not saying that I'm going to be responsible for your gear. You need to keep a good eye on your gear. You need to secure it the best of your ability. This is one of those ways to be able to have access to this in a pinch if you need one and you don't have a budget to get a classic doorway dolly. But please be aware, this is kind of a wonky setup. Your gear is going to be at risk, so always make sure you're being careful and safe with your gear when you're doing it. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab an Apple box, and as you can see, I can throw the Apple box here now, right on my shuttle. Now, once you put that on there, sometimes people do like to take like a piece of bungee or rope and secure it on there. Be careful with it, because when you strap it over, the bungee could whip around and whap you. It can hurt, but sometimes it's good to have that for extra safety, or just make sure you keep an eye on it. Now, that's where this next part comes in. Now, this is the Pro-Aim base that I have that has a little hi-hat. It's like 185 bucks. You can usually find something, I guess, in most rental kits. You can usually rent something, I guess. I just have one because I use it enough. But, now I can just put this right there. And now you can see I'm building a stand for my doorway dolly. So if I take my head here, and now I have me a situation where I have all the elements I would want for a doorway dolly. And what's great is because this is like this, I can take this now and run it like this. I'm gonna go ahead and just get that position. Now, as you can see, I can pull this out here, and now, look at that. I can have a very, very smooth and crisp doorway dolly from my converted DANA dolly. So DANA dolly, doorway dolly, really, really useful trick to know how to do. One note about this, like I said, always make sure there's always someone who has a hand on there. In between shots, pop off your camera just for safety's sake. And this isn't the most stable of configurations, but it absolutely works, and it will get you those shots you could not get in a pinch. Especially, these are only 8-foot rails, but I like to use 10, 12-foot rails to get these kind of longer push-in shots or nice dramatic push-ins. And being able to convert something as simple and easy as a DANA dolly into a doorway dolly, I guess, is just such a useful trick to have. It's something to save a lot of sets. I think it's something that could be pretty cool if you're out there thinking about it. And as you can see, it doesn't really take much, a little DIY, but you'd be okay. And if you're gonna secure this or something, I'd almost recommend getting a piece of rope rather than a bungee, because I have found that bungees do tend to like flip up and smack you if you don't have them hooked there into the shuttle perfectly well. But once you get this in there, you are in pretty good shape. And if you really wanted to, you could actually take this and actually drill it into the Apple box itself just to add a little more stability. But for the most part, I found that if you're looking for slow push-in shots, this will absolutely get you that without getting the rail in the shot. But anyway, guys, that was basically my little tip. I know it's a useful trick for me. Hopefully it helps you out there. I'd love to hear what you have to say with this. Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.